Welcome. I'm Alice Alicia Jones, and this is another one of my Living Consciously videos. I welcome you to this broadcast. I haven't reached out any more than once a week. I've been told I have to do this daily. I'm thinking about it. I'm not sure when that's going to happen, but anyway, I'll let you know. But today we're going to cover a topic that probably has trailed me my entire life. I never realized it trailed me until I married the first time. I married a narcissist. And then I got emotionally battered. And today's topic is going to what I'm going to talk about is the fact that you can get your emotions under control. You do not have to be a victim to whatever is said by whoever says it, because you cannot control what is hurtled at you. You can't control that. And sometimes people have the greatest intention. They think they're helping you. They think they want to help you, but all you get from it is a heap of pain. And all you feel is to feel crushed and crumbled from what they say. And I know one of my life lessons in this lifetime was to be in the presence of anger and not let it defeat me, not let it crush me, not let it crumble me, not let it change my personality, which is everything that it did when I first started my adult life. I reacted to any emotional outburst as a personal assault. And because it was a personal assault, it literally changed the way I thought, changed the way I felt, changed the way I looked, changed the way I reacted to things. I couldn't be who I was. I couldn't stay within the boundaries of my own personality. I became confused. I became tongue tied. I stumbled over my words. I all of a sudden I felt that it was a huge type of humiliation that everybody thought there was something wrong with me. Uh, The list is endless, but it happened over and over and over again because of the way that I was reacting to the things that were hurdled into my emotional body. Now, the emotional body is the subtle body that is attached to your second chakra. And the emotional body and the mental body and the first body, the etheric body. So, etheric, mental, etheric, emotional, mental are the first three chakras. And those are the chakras that almost everybody lives in on this planet, at least 85% of the people. So they never really advance to the heart center, which is the gateway to the upper chakras. But the emotional body is where we get stuck in a place that brings us nothing but pain. Between the emotional and the mental body, most of the pain that ends up, excuse me, um, affecting our physical body originates in the emotional and the mental body. And I think this subject became so clear to me of how far I had come when a couple of days ago I had a um, violent disagreement with my husband, not a violent argument, a violent disagreement, and I just did what I had originally said I was going to do. And I was able to come to the supper table as if nothing had happened. There was no disruption in my personality. There was no disruption. There was no pain in my body. There was no um, alteration in the way I thought. Didn't have hateful thoughts or thoughts of, oh, well, I should have said this or I could have said this. I was just fine. It was as if nothing had happened. And so I recognized, boy, I've come a long way. And this is why I thought today's topic was important to pass this on to you. Some of the ways that the distortions that you're going to find in the emotional body, and this is why you end up getting having it move from the etheric plane, from the outside of you, from your auric field into your physicality, is because you are not processing these emotions and getting rid of them. You are absorbing them. You are feeling as if you're actually feeling the physical pain of them. And instead of processing them and allowing them to flow out of you, you're stuffing them back into your body. So um, this is this is why we're in as much trouble as we're in, and this is why people end up with things like lung cancer, but have never smoked a day in their life, or um, the other like multiple myeloma, which is I'm pretty sure it attacks the bones, the marrow of the bones, and yet our foundation appears to be strong. The bones are part of the root chakra, and that's our foundation. And we have a loving family, a loving husband, somebody who supports us, but yet we end up with multiple myeloma that takes us out in typically 2 to 4 years. So I just wanted to review these with you. If you continue and stay in a place where you can reinforce the problem, if you continue to circulate in your mind blame, shame, or guilt, I shoulda, coulda, woulda, anything that continues to reinforce the issue at hand, you can start to feel any one of these distortions. And the distortions, what's going to happen is that your body originally is going to start feeling heavy and bruised from the inside out. There's going to be a heaviness inside your physicality that wasn't there before, and that heaviness just won't go away. So let's look at um, some of these things. I've covered these earlier in other sessions, but some of them are feeling thick, gummy, sickly, prickly, feeling as if you have symptoms of imbalances inside of you, that even to the point where the right side doesn't feel like the left side. The right side feels nervous, the left side doesn't, or left side feels nervous, the right side doesn't. Complete imbalance. There could be drains inside of you. I know this isn't an example of a drain, but some of the physical symptoms that I felt when I felt my worst were that my ear would start hurting to the point where I felt so much pain that it was as if it were burning. And I would just put my hand on my ear to kind of cushion it or, smother it, sending it love. And eventually that would stop. But then at the same time, my eye, one eye, I'd see a pinpoint of light, and then the vision would distort to where half of my sight was nothing but light, and the other half I could see. The half that was nothing but light, just that's all I saw was brilliant, brilliant, brilliant white light. Um, there and of course back pain. Oh my God, back pain was so common. I there were times where I literally felt as if I had aged. I was in my 40s, but I felt like I was in my 80s or 90s or hundreds in terms of the pain, the amount of pain that kept coming forward. So, needless to say, I felt drained physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually to the point where I could do nothing. And other ways that you might feel that, or you might see masses of angry. You might just look inside of yourself and see a mass of angry gray or angry red material kind of floating around a certain organ. Or you might see prickly arrows coming out of some of your organs. Um, the the other is sharp, pointed tentacles. Sharp, sharp tentacles that had literally almost like spears on the end of them. And then yet another one would be thick or thin wires, as if it were barbed wire, but it was it just felt like you couldn't uh, move in any direction beyond that. So the other thing is octopus, the tentacles of the octopus, and just swirling around and doing funny things. You might see black bands, thick black bands around a person or yourself. And you might recognize that, okay, I I always interpret black bands as rigidity, extreme rigidity. So when I see that, I continue to probe until I figure out where the rigidity, what's the source of the rigidity. Um, you might see an iron gate. This was very common. I would see iron gates around a person's heart. Iron, like a small fence with a gate with a huge padlock on it, just around the heart. So that was kind of interesting. Or a huge wall. You could actually see yourself or somebody else barricaded behind a wall, or feel hot or cold spots on your body. One of the last healings that I did, I felt everything was warm and accepting the energy till I got to the heart of the person. And at the heart, it was cold and no acceptance of the energy that was given. Well, you can feel that on yourself. You can feel when parts of your body also are registering cold. Very common to have it at your knees or at your ankles or the bottoms of your feet, because this is you somehow or other not wanting to move forward, whether it's with a project, whether it's with a relationship, whatever it is that you're reluctant about, whether it's to learn a new skill to help you move into a better job or a different job, a different career, a reluctance to move forward will show up as cold spots in your knees, in your ankles, sometimes even at your hips. But you can overcome every single one of these. All you have to see is what they are. Ask your body, what does this mean? And then move forward with it. Another, this doesn't happen often, but it does happen, like a padlock, sometimes small, sometimes giant. Padlock. I have seen that around people's hearts, where there was like no getting into that heart space. That heart was locked away from anybody being able to enter into it. Another thing, and this is going to make you laugh, a giant screw. It's a real screw that will show up, and then and sometimes it even starts to rotate, and it could be emblematic of you feeling you're being screwed by circumstances, or possibly that you are applying the screws to somebody else. So either or, it's a destruction. Another could be prickly balls instead of balls of light, balls of energy, balls of movement, prickly balls, so that everything they touched hurt. And even though this is in your emotional body, it's in the area around your physicality, it moves down into your physical body. Eventually, every single one of these distortions ends up in your physical body. This is why not getting rid of emotional upsets is so damaging ultimately. You might see leaks or holes or gaps. These are where energy is just draining out of you, almost as if somebody opened a faucet and everything is just leaving you through a leak, through a hole, through a gap. And in the same way, a fissure or a tear. The very dangerous part about having a fissure or a tear in your energy field is that allows other beings, other entities to enter into your energy field. Unwittingly, unknowingly, you are offering a home to a being that is a negative thought form, that because it's been thought of often enough, it has a life and a vibrancy of its own. And even though the negative thought form, let's say, might live in the fifth dimension, it can affect a third dimensional creature. Absolutely. And we're in the third dimension moving through the fourth. So we're not far away from the fifth dimension. We're not far from where we will physically be able to see everything I'm saying with our physical eyes, not just having to use our third eye. Let's see, what else? The last thing after uh, fissures and tears is concrete forms. You know what concrete feels like. you hit your head against concrete, you can definitely hurt yourself. Well, I have seen occasionally a concrete form that feels like it's living inside a portion of my body, or it's living inside somebody else's body. And again, I take that as a sign of extreme rigidity. So, have to figure out, but it's rigidity because it's concrete. It's got like a third, it's like a cube versus a square. So it has more solidarity to it. And so it's got to be examined in a different way. It's got to be probed. It has to um, uh, be looked at, and it has to be explained. And because you can communicate with anything, you can communicate with these type of imbalances, and you can ask these imbalances, what does this mean? And whatever impression you're given in your mind, trust it. Just trust it, and know that your body will tell you how to bring itself back to wholeness. Your body will give you a clue as to what it takes to get rid of, to move these emotions out of your body, to move these thought forms out of your body. Most of these that I've covered today are thought forms, something that you've thought about over and over and over and over. And much of the time, you think about it subconsciously. So you don't even know you're thinking about it. You are not even aware of the fact that you're thinking about it, which makes it a little bit more elusive and a little bit more difficult to retrieve. But this is where you have to trust the images that you're given in your mind's eye. I hope that I think that's the whole purpose of these videos, living consciously, so that anything that I cover that you may have never heard before, just know that there is a way to help yourself from being stuck in pain, stuck in he done me wrong, she done me wrong, they did me wrong, stuck with uh, however many years you've had it. And in some cases, some people have told me, I've had this my entire life. And then I realized this is something they came in with. They were born with it. They came in with it from a past life. And now it's the one of the missions of this lifetime to clear it. So you are a multidimensional, multifaceted, and absolutely phenomenal human being. But in your humanity is also your divinity and your spirituality. And so you have to cover all facets of yourself, and you have to clear all facets of yourself. I don't know what time it is. 24. Okay. Um, I think that's all I wanted to say for today. My book, Own Your Power Day by Day, best meditation book on the market. If you want to know what spirit sounds like, it's in there. Every word was guided by spirit, whether I edited the day's activities. You only have to read 2 pages a day. So that book will last you a solid year. And most people that love it, which most do, um, will just start when the new year rolls around, they just start the book over again. And if you want to reach me, want any information on what I do, go to my website, Alicia, ALICJA Jones.com. I'm always available to help you, and I take great pleasure in working with those. And most of the time, all my new contacts that who I who aren't repeat customers, when I ask them, "How did you find me?" It's always through YouTube. So I know that this is a tremendous venue for, um, for reaching out to people. And I'm very grateful for the people that come here. I thank you for your compliments. There's so many people that will say, "Thank you for sharing this. Thank you for being here for us." If anybody leaves a question, I try to answer it the next time around. Um, I'm going to continue with the chakras. I was told to start with the second chakra because of the fact that the emotional body traps so much of our pain. And so we're going to continue next week with the third chakra, the mental body. And so I look forward to seeing you then. And that will be next week, Friday. Take care. Have a great week. It's finally starting to get a little bit warm, so I'm very, very pleased to have the ability to be outside to plant flowers. Because if it's uh, gray or even gray, I don't mind. But if it's cold, I'm not out there. So, but when it's warm, I love to plant my flowers. But thank you, and I'll see you next week.